The final sequence in the house that got burned down, wasn't it very dangerous to make the scene? It looks very dangerous. Was it in the studio or was it in the outside?
The church.
Tutto il film è stato pericoloso. Quando c'erano le fiamme, spiegalo te, che tu dici che non parlo molto bene inglese. E le scene d'azione sono tutte pericolose.
Hello. Ottaviano was the stuntman. And yeah, you with the fire, you cannot play. Also, why the fire is glue. So if the glue attach, you can burn. But was
But they didn't do too much damage because they used exactly the same location and exactly the same church in Zombie Holocaust.
So it's
They
the
also
same one.
used the same story and the same dialogue and the same
Same actors.
Yeah, only added some cannibals.
yeah, different with cannibals.
So it was the same church,
Yeah, absolutely.
but they filmed it from different angles, or
Probably.
I don't think they bothered. I mean, it was more or less the same film. So
Yeah.
I think they just used the camera angles as well.
He'll have a few of them. Any other questions?
where did they shoot Zombie? Where was it?
It started in New York, the location work, and then went to the Dominican Republic, and then went to a place called Latina, which is on the sort of west coast of Italy, on the Pontine Marshes. And they used that. I mean, it was also used earlier. If any of you have seen the film Cleopatra, they filmed some of the Egyptian scenes there because they thought it had a very sort of tropical look to it. They're very, I don't know, Italian filmmakers are very, very naughty. When I got the part in this film, they sent me my airline ticket and then they said, go and get a visa. And I went to the American Embassy in London. And the lady behind the counter said, why are you going to New York? And I said, I was very pleased, I'm going to make a film, an Italian film. And she said, oh yeah? What's the name of the company? And I said, they're called Variety Films. And she said, just a minute. And she went out of the room and she came back and she said, we have no record of any Italian company having permission to film in New York. So you better go away and find out what's happening. And I rang them up and they said, no, you mustn't say, we're not there legally, we're not supposed to be. So make up something. So I went in and said, I'm going to New York en route to the Dominican Republic. And the lady behind the counter said, she said, we're not fucking stupid. She said, I am going to write in your passport, will not act or perform in any shape or in any place in the United States. And it's still in my old passport. But they sort of just didn't care. I mean, the very next day, we were filming on Broadway, in daylight, with American policemen playing American policemen. And while we were also there, Pierluigi Al was making another film. When they were on the plane going from New York to the Dominican Republic, they were making another film on the plane, and I presume without the permission of the airline. And the newspaper office in Zombie, we were filming it, and they had bribed, I think, the caretaker of the newspaper office to let the whole unit in. That's the actors, the cameras, the lights, the lot. And again, somebody came in, and I think it was Rupert Murdoch. And he said, what the fuck is going on here? Out! So the whole company had to just leave because they didn't have proper permission to make the film there. They are very, very dangerous, Italian films.
For this reason, Italian movies was very cheap. We could not make competition with Hollywood. We had to fight.
So you broke the laws in the United States. You're not allowed to go back to the United States?
I've been back.
He wasn't arrested.
I get frightened, I think it might.
Yeah, I did it in San Francisco once with a company, no permission. A thing called Behind the Door. We shot in San Francisco, quite a lot of it. We were tourists. Cameras.
Mr. Johnson, is it true you were delighted when you heard the movie was banned in Britain?
Oh, of course. That's the accolade, isn't it? It's so terrifying. We can't even show it. We can't show it. It's banned in Germany now, isn't it?
No, not really.
Not
Not
anymore.
some copies are
Yeah, but
different
it officially
editions.
is
Yeah,
banned.
but
That's great. If it's still frightening people that much after all these years, it must be brilliant.
I have a question.
When the movie was shot, in which language was it shot? Did you all speak English, or did some actors speak Italian and some other actors spoke in English, and it was later dubbed in the studio?
There were Shakespeare English,
Yeah.
Italian, Roman slang, and shouting Lucio Fucci. Then we did in here. So it was a mix.
Typically, everything's dubbed in after. I mean, there was so much noise on set on all of the Italian films, so the good majority of Italian films.
I think it was quite a lot of it was shot live.
Right.
But in the old days, we used to have a wild Arri, if you know what a wild Arri is, an Arriflex camera with no sound deadening on it. So they would take a guide track, and then everybody would come along after they shot the film and dub their voices, or somebody else would dub their voices, or whatever. And I remember doing a love scene in an Italian film with an Italian actress who was speaking Italian, and I was speaking English. We waited till the other one had finished. And you said, it's me. But that was, they used to do that all the time in Italy, didn't they?
But all these, the three films I did, and especially Zombie, were all in profit before they even started to film, because they'd sold the rights to the States or Japan or the South American rights. And they also knew they had the tapes and the DVDs and everything else to come. So they knew that they had an international market, and it didn't really matter what language Richard was speaking or Al was speaking or I was speaking, because it was going to be dubbed into Spanish, Portuguese, Japanese. And that hard work was just going to be done in the dubbing studio, wherever the film was going to be sent to.
Anyway, I want to tell, I am really shocked about the success that had these movies. Why in Italy nobody knows us? Nobody saw the movies. Oh, who saw the movies now? Is so old and don't remember.
But we love them.
Was this film a big success in Italy, in Germany, as a film or just as a DVD? Or
it was successful. Not
As a
as not as much as Dawn of the Dead, but it was quite successful for the time. You can't
but
compare
the
it
other
to
way around for DVDs. I mean,
when it came out in 1979, I think.
How you know you had still to burn?
No, I was.
Your father told you.
I read it.